Before you do another Sainsbury's shop, pause for a second, because this is not really about one supermarket. It is about what happens when a store becomes so familiar, so polished, and so easy to trust that you stop auditing what is actually in your basket. Sainsbury's is one of those places people walk into with a built-in sense of reassurance. The lighting feels softer. The own label ranges feel more curated. The premium packaging signals care. The meal deals feel efficient. The nectar prices make it seem like the smart move is already being made for you. And that is exactly why this matters. The biggest shopping mistakes usually do not happen in stores that look chaotic. They happen in stores that make compromise feel civilized. You think you are buying better because the environment feels better. You think you are choosing carefully because the branding is calm. But supermarkets do not make money from your confidence. They make money from what your confidence stops you from checking. So before you shop at Sainsbury's again, we need to audit the experience the way a careful buyer would. Not with panic, not with supermarket snobbery, but with the one thing stores hate most: a customer who understands the game. The first mistake shoppers make at Sainsbury's is confusing a more refined shopping environment with a more honest shopping environment. Those are not the same thing. A store can look cleaner, sound calmer, and still steer you toward choices that are expensive, overly processed, badly compared, or dressed up beyond what the product earns. This is the first rule of the whole audit. Never let the store's atmosphere do the thinking for you. Sainsbury's is especially good at packaging normal grocery decisions in a language of taste, quality, balance, and lifestyle. That does not automatically make those products bad. But it does create a dangerous shortcut in the shopper's mind. The basket starts filling itself on branding alone. A nice font, a muted color palette, a black premium tray, a little farm image, a neat little phrase about selected ingredients. And suddenly, the brain stops asking the hard questions. Compared to cheaper-looking stores, the compromises feel less obvious. They are still there. They are just wearing better clothes. And once you see that, the second mistake becomes obvious. People shop Sainsbury's by shelf identity instead of product reality. They buy tiers instead of specifics. The standard range feels acceptable. The premium range feels trustworthy. The health-forward range feels disciplined. The convenience range feels sensible for a busy week. But shelf identity is a story. Product reality is what you can verify. This is where a lot of shoppers lose money without realizing it. They are not just paying for the item. They are paying for the emotional tone around the item. A chilled ready meal in a premium black sleeve does not become nutritionally thoughtful because the design team knows how to stage steam photography. A sauce in a glass jar does not become less industrial because the label uses words like rustic, inspired, or slow-cooked. A snack with earthy colors and clean typography does not become simple just because it visually distances itself from bright junk food branding. In many categories, Sainsbury's is very good at selling composure. The question is whether the product deserves it. So here is the audit framework that makes this whole store easier to read. 4 checks, not 20. 4. First, what are you actually paying for? Food, convenience, branding, or discount theater? Second, what does the front of the pack want you to feel, and what does the rest of the pack quietly reveal? Third, is the product solving a real need, or is it monetizing your rushed state? Fourth, if you stripped away the store name and packaging, would you still call it a smart buy? If you use those 4 checks, Sainsbury's stops being a gentle shopping experience and starts becoming what it really is: a test of whether you can separate presentation from value. Let's start with one of the easiest traps in the building: the premium illusion. Sainsbury's has mastered this through ranges that signal uplift without needing to say too much. You see darker packaging, better photography, cleaner naming, maybe a little story about provenance, craftsmanship, or selected ingredients, and your brain fills in the rest. The assumption is not just that it tastes better. The assumption is that it is made with more care, more restraint, maybe even more integrity. Sometimes that may be true, but too often, what you are really buying is a more expensive version of the same supermarket logic. More seasoning, more sauce, more visual theater, more packaging detail, more margin, not necessarily more transparency. This matters most in categories like desserts, ready meals, sauces, snacks, deli-style items, and frozen treats, where premium can mean richer, prettier, and more indulgent without meaning meaningfully better. If you have ever stood there holding a premium own-label product and felt like you were making the adult, respectable choice, stop right there and ask a basic question. What exactly improved enough to justify the difference? Was it the ingredient list? Was it the sourcing clarity? Was it the portion quality? Or did the product just learn how to look expensive? Pause on that for a second, because this is where a lot of supermarket shopping stops making sense. People are careful in obvious luxury environments. They scrutinize restaurant prices. They compare electronics. But in grocery stores, especially polished grocery stores, a 2-pound jump here, a 3-pound jump there, a premium add-on in 6 different categories, and by the end of the week you have paid a lifestyle tax disguised as quality. This is not one bad purchase. It is death by aesthetic agreement. You agreed with the tone of the shelf, so the shelf won. The third mistake at Sainsbury's is treating nectar prices like proof of value. Loyalty pricing is one of the smartest pieces of modern supermarket psychology because it makes people feel rewarded while quietly training them to accept inflated reference points. You see the lower price with the nectar tag and the higher standard price beside it, and your brain does not ask whether the discounted price is good. It asks whether you are clever enough to access it. That is a completely different question. A loyalty price can be helpful. It can also be a trap if it stops you comparing unit cost, pack size, or nearby alternatives. This is especially dangerous in categories where shoppers already buy on autopilot. Cereals, yogurts, snacks, drinks, prepared lunches, cleaning products, and family convenience foods. The Nectar badge creates urgency and participation. It turns shopping into membership, but membership is not value. Value is what you get relative to what else is on the shelf, how much of it you are actually receiving, and whether you would have bought it at all without the little nudge of being let in on the deal. That is the thing about supermarket discounts. The red badge and the loyalty icon do not just lower a number, they soften resistance. They give products a temporary authority. Suddenly the item feels pre-approved. And once that happens, shoppers skip the most important check in the store: the price per weight, per liter, per serving, or per actual useful portion. This is where Sainsbury's, like many supermarkets, can quietly win. A product can look reduced and still be worse value than the option directly above or below it. A smaller pack can feel safer because the out-of-pocket cost is lower, even if the unit cost is far worse. A meal deal item can feel efficient while nudging you into a snack and drink you would never have chosen on their own. The store does not need to deceive you in some dramatic way. It just needs to keep you moving before comparison catches up. And that leads straight into the fourth mistake: paying the convenience tax without admitting that is what you are doing. Sainsbury's is built for the busy shopper. Quick lunch, easy dinner, grab-and-go breakfast, pre-cut fruit, marinated protein, chopped veg, heat-and-eat trays, little pots, little packs, little solutions for little moments of time pressure. Sometimes that is genuinely useful. Convenience is not automatically the enemy. The problem starts when convenience gets rebranded as prudence. You tell yourself the prepped version is worth it because life is busy. Fair enough. But are you making that decision consciously, or are you making it because the store has arranged convenience to feel like the default of responsible adulthood? A lot of buyers are not just paying for saved time, they are paying for reduced friction, reduced thought, reduced planning guilt. And again, the store knows this. The sandwich aisle, the meal deal section, the prepared dinner options, the just pop it in the oven language, the tidy little lunch add-ons, the family dinner shortcuts that look cheaper than takeout but much pricier than a basic scratch meal. All of that is built around your most vulnerable shopping state: tired but trying to be good. Here is a simple reset. When you are in Sainsbury's and something looks worth it because it's easy, ask yourself one blunt question. Easy compared to what? Compared to cooking from zero? Of course. Compared to a slightly less processed or less packaged option 2 feet away? Not always. Compared to buying a larger base ingredient once and using it twice? Often not. The convenience tax hurts most when it gets repeated. One premium lunch, one upgraded ready side, one prepped fruit pot. One bakery-style treat because you deserve something nice. One shortcut sauce. One individually packaged snack item for the school run or the commute. And suddenly your basket is full of products that solved minutes while draining pounds. The fifth mistake is one of the most expensive because it hides behind good intentions. People mistake health-coded language for actual clarity. And in a supermarket like Sainsbury's, where many products are presented with calm, modern restraint, that confusion gets even easier. High protein, plant-based, source of fiber, no added whatever, light, natural, balanced. These phrases can mean something. They can also act like front-of-pack decoys that stop you reading the bigger story. This is not about rejecting every product with a wellness halo. It is about refusing to let one nutritional talking point overshadow everything else. A snack can be protein-forward and still be heavily engineered for taste and repeat buying. A plant-based product can still be ultra-formulated and expensive for what it is. A lighter dessert can still be a dessert designed to preserve indulgence while selling self-control. A breakfast product can wave one positive claim around while hiding the fact that it is still a refined, sweetened, or highly manipulated version of what a simpler option would have been. This is where Sainsbury's can become dangerous for label-conscious shoppers. Ironically, because it seems so label-literate. The store is good at offering ranges that let you perform good decisions. Free from higher welfare-sounding cues, better-for-you cues, premium wellness cues, cleaner-looking packaging. The feeling you get is not junk, it is managed. And people spend a lot of money on feeling managed. But the real consumer skill is not spotting products that know the right words. It is spotting products where the whole item makes sense. Does the ingredient logic line up with the promise? Does the product appear to exist because it solves a real food need or because it can be sold at a premium to anxious shoppers? Is it honest about what it is? Some of the smartest buyers in any supermarket are not the people chasing every healthy-sounding innovation. They are the ones buying simpler, less theatrical food more consistently. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful emotional levers in the store: Britishness, farm cues, and the soft theater of reassurance. This is not unique to Sainsbury's, but Sainsbury's often packages it very well. You see pastoral imagery, careful wording, references to selected farms, countryside cues, family meal language, traditional cues, provenance styling, and the product immediately feels more rooted, more accountable, more morally stable. Again, sometimes those cues reflect something meaningful, but sometimes they mainly elevate mood. They create a sense of contact with an older, cleaner version of food, even when the actual item is still a thoroughly modern supermarket product, designed around shelf life, throughput, consistency, and margin. The issue is not that provenance language exists. The issue is that buyers often use it as a replacement for scrutiny. If a pack looks local, grounded, or craft-adjacent, the questions get softer, and stores count on softened questions. This is a good moment for a mid-script reality check. By now you might be thinking, so what? Every supermarket does this. Exactly. That is part of the point. The reason to focus on Sainsbury's is not because it is uniquely guilty. It is because it is uniquely easy to trust. And trust is where expensive habits hide. A loud discount warehouse teaches you to stay defensive. A calmer, more premium-coated chain teaches you to relax. So the issue is not just whether a product is flawed. The issue is what kind of shopper the environment turns you into. If the store makes you feel like you no longer need to interrogate the basics, then you are already paying too much, even before we get to what is in the basket. The sixth mistake shoppers make is assuming own label range design equals useful differentiation. Sainsbury's has multiple own label identities for a reason: standard, premium, health-forward, plant-led, children's, convenience-led, seasonal, value signaling. Each one creates a mental shortcut. You are supposed to feel that the store has already organized the decision for you. Need basic? Here. Need indulgent? Here. Need aspirational? Here. Need disciplined? Here. Need family-friendly? Here. But range architecture is often more about margin segmentation than consumer truth. It gives the store multiple ways to sell you the same underlying grocery moment at different emotional and financial levels. Want pasta sauce? Fine. Here is the normal one, The better one, the lighter one, the more artisanal feeling one, the faster one, the family-sized one, the seasonal one. Same need, different stories. The more stories a shelf gives you, the easier it becomes to confuse choice with insight. Watch what happens in categories like soup, granola, frozen meals, desserts, pizzas, dips, chilled snacks, and sauces. Often, the decision is no longer between food and food, it is between identities. The shopper is really asking, what kind of person am I tonight? Tired but trying? Hosting but not really cooking? Health-conscious but craving something? Busy parent with standards. That is incredibly powerful merchandising, because identity is emotionally easier to buy than analysis. So if you want to shop Sainsbury's well, stop choosing the range first. Choose the actual product logic first, then see which range, if any, earns your money. The seventh mistake is letting the bakery, produce, and fresh zones create a halo over the whole shop. This is an old supermarket trick, but it works beautifully in stores that know how to stage sensory reassurance. Fresh bread smell, glossy fruit under good lighting, seasonal displays, better-looking flowers, chilled zones that feel abundant and composed. The message is not verbal, but it lands. This store cares about food. And once that message lands, it leaks into categories that have not earned it. Suddenly the cookies feel more wholesome, the snack aisle feels less aggressive, the premium desserts feel more legitimate, the prepared foods feel more like culinary help than margin engineering. Sensory atmosphere is not evidence, it is mood. Useful mood, seductive mood, sometimes expensive mood. A good buyer separates the fresh theater from the whole store reality. Enjoy the fresh bread smell if you want. Just do not let it approve the biscuit aisle for you. Appreciate a tidy produce section. Just do not let it tell you the premium ready meals are sensible. Freshness signals are often the emotional front door of trust. Once you understand that, you stop being led around by your nose and your eyes and start buying like someone who knows every aisle deserves its own trial. Now let's get practical. If you had to reduce all of this into the 3 biggest shopping mistakes at Sainsbury's, here they are. 1. Paying for reassurance instead of substance. 2. Confusing discounts and convenience with genuine value. 3. Letting labels speak louder than the full product story. Those 3 mistakes explain a shocking amount of wasted grocery money. They also explain why shoppers can leave a store feeling responsible while carrying a basket full of quiet compromises. So what does better shopping at Sainsbury's actually look like? It looks less cinematic, less exciting, and much smarter. It means using the store for what it does well without surrendering to its storytelling. It means buying ingredients more often than branded solutions. It means comparing the standard version, the premium version, and the supposedly healthier version before assuming any of them deserve the extra spend. It means checking the price per weight even when the nectar sign is glowing at you. It means treating meal deals as math, not culture. It means being suspicious whenever the front of the pack is doing emotional heavy lifting. It means understanding that if a product's entire appeal collapses once you imagine it in a plain white pack, that product may have been mostly branding in the first place. And there is relief in that, real relief. Because once you stop trying to shop by mood, the store becomes simpler. You do not need to decode every trendy product launch. You do not need to hate convenience food. You do not need to become extreme. You just need a repeatable audit. What am I paying for? What is the pack trying to make me assume? What happens if I compare unit cost? Is this solving a genuine problem, or is it selling me a nicer version of my rush? That is it. Those 4 questions alone can completely change how you shop a supermarket like Sainsbury's. If you have bought there for years, here is the real issue. Familiarity can turn into automatic trust, and automatic trust is expensive. Not because every product is bad, not because the store is uniquely dishonest, but because your standards get blurred by polish. That is why some of the smartest changes are boring ones. Buy fewer identity products. Buy fewer convenience upgrades disguised as essentials. Buy fewer premium-coated versions of ordinary foods unless you can point to a real reason they are better. Let the store help you where it is genuinely useful, but do not let it narrate your basket back to you as if everything inside it was a thoughtful choice. And this is where the category logic becomes clear. Supermarkets are no longer just places that sell food. They sell confidence. Confidence that you are feeding your family well. Confidence that you are choosing quality. Confidence that you are treating yourself responsibly. Confidence that you are still in control even when life is rushed. Sainsbury's is particularly effective when it wraps that confidence in calm, tasteful presentation. That is why an audit matters. The danger is not obvious junk. It is respectable-looking compromise. So before your next shop, carry this checklist with you. If the packaging feels premium, verify what actually improved. If the product is on a loyalty deal, compare the unit cost before feeling clever. If the item is convenient, decide whether it saves enough time to justify the markup. If the label uses healthy language, read past the headline and ask whether the whole product makes sense. If the range identity is doing most of the talking, ignore the range and judge the item. And if a shelf is trying very hard to make you feel calm, elevated, or reassured, that is exactly the moment to slow down. That is the deeper truth behind this title. The warning is not never set foot in Sainsbury's. The warning is, do not walk in asleep. Do not confuse polish with transparency. Do not confuse curation with value. Do not confuse being a regular shopper with being a protected shopper. You are not protected by familiarity. You are protected by attention. So if you shop at Sainsbury's, I want to know where you think the biggest trust gap is. Is it the premium ranges, the loyalty pricing, the convenience food, the health-coded products, or something else entirely? And if you think I missed a category that deserves a proper audit, say it. Because the more specific these conversations get, the harder it becomes for supermarkets to sell us the feeling of a smart shop instead of the reality of one.